Good afternoon, everyone. We are live to today's masterclass. And so I think most of you will know us by now. I'm Emily. I'm from the UK originally, and I'm speaking to you from Milan today. And I'm here with my colleague.
Yes, my name is Anika. Welcome to the webinar. You can see two people already joining us. So if you're here, please say hi and introduce yourselves. So my name is Anika. I'm from Bangladesh originally, and I used to live in Malaysia before I moved to Italy about 6 years ago. Oh, hi, Johnny from Padova.
Hi,
Nice
Johnny.
to see you again here.
Yes, every day, very faithfully. Thank you. So we have a reading text today. We thought we would change things up a little and talk about a creative story. So what we'll do, after some initial questions, we are going to read through the text together. We will also send you the link so you can look at it at your own speed as well. Marco with us as well. Thank you.
Welcome, Marco. So maybe before we begin, we can talk about the title. Telltale Heart.
Yeah.
So
what does this make you think about?
Yeah, that's a good question. What does it make you think about?
Yeah, because sometimes you can tell a lot about a story from the title. Sometimes the ideas change a lot when you read it.
Yes.
What does it make you think of, Anika?
It makes me think of a storyteller, someone who is narrating a story.
Yeah.
Hi, Alessia.
Hi, Alessia.
Okay. Because the word tale, in case you guys don't know, the word tale means a story, an imaginary story.
Yeah. So maybe someone who tells a lot of stories. Yeah. Johnny knows already what we're talking about. So it's the title of a story written by Edgar Allan Poe. That's absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you have read the story, Emily. Did you like it?
Yeah, I haven't read it in a long time, but it's a very interesting story.
Okay.
So I don't know if any of you know anything about Edgar Allan Poe. Maybe tell us what you know about him already, if you do know anything. Because he wrote short stories, he wrote some poetry as well. Very famous American writer.
Yeah. His stories are usually kind of dark and horrific, I suppose.
Yeah, quite scary stories. Do you like scary stories, Anika?
In general, I do. I read a bit of Stephen King sometimes. I don't think I have read Edgar Allan Poe yet. Although Phantom of the Opera is on my reading list.
Oh, is that by him? I didn't know that.
I thought so. I'll check right now. I'm curious now.
I believe you. I don't know. I don't know who wrote Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, interesting. I know his poetry better. I know that he wrote a famous poem called The Raven, which is very good if you want to explore. I think Gianni just said he's read The Raven as well, so it's very good if you want to explore rhyme and rhythm in English. The Raven, it's a very interesting poem. Okay, Marco, thank you, Marco. I love Poe. Funny thing is that he's known for his misery
Hmm.
stories or miserable stories. Oh, sorry, mysteries and mystery stories. But he wrote
Hmm.
many other different things and genres. That's great. Just one spelling change,
Hmm.
Marco. Mystery with a Y, like this mystery. Okay.
Hmm. Cool.
So I think we have some more questions before we read the story.
Sorry, Emily, the line wasn't really good. Could you repeat what you just said?
It's yeah. No, I was just saying yes. Let's move
Hmm.
on to this slide,
Okay.
which is great. So, do you want to talk about
Today in
this?
this activity, we are going to read a question. Yeah, I think there's a delay in the
Yeah,
audio.
there is. I
Yeah.
apologize.
So, don't worry about it. So today we're going to talk about reading classic narrative stories. So we're going to read part of the telltale part, and we're
Hmm.
going to understand descriptive writing. So if maybe for homework, if you guys want, if you have some free time, you can write an illustrative narrative story.
Hmm.
So if you enjoy writing, I think would be something interesting to do. So
Yeah, definitely.
I know Emily likes to write sometimes.
I do. I'm not very good at narrative stories, but I do enjoy some writing, and I believe you do as well, Anika, right?
Cool. Yes, I do enjoy narrative writing sometimes. So what about you
Hmm.
guys, Marco, Gianni, Alessia? Do you like to write sometimes in whatever language? Do you enjoy
Hmm.
writing? Anything? Okay. So, sorry, I have too many tabs. It's taking a little while.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about Poe a little bit.
Hmm.
Here we can talk
Amazing
about.
picture.
Mm, so,
Hmm.
yeah. Do you want to read the questions, Emily?
Sure. So we have who was Edgar Allan Poe? We talked a little about this. What type of writing is he best known for? And what is the Telltale Heart about? So we might have to come back to the final question in at the end
Mm.
when we have read the story. Okay.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So Marco had a question. What does illustrative narrative mean? What do you think, Anika?
Right. So, illustrative narrative would be so. I'm going to explain narrative first. So, when you
Hmm.
are talking in usually telling a story, usually in first person, I would say,
Hmm.
and you're describing it very vividly with a lot of descriptions, it's an illustrative narrative.
Hmm. Yeah, when you can really visualize something. Yeah,
A
good
lot of
question.
descriptions, very visual. Yes.
Hmm.
Johnny here says I prefer to read instead of writing. Good for
Yeah.
you because these days are good for reading.
Hmm. Definitely. And Alessia, yes, I like writing, but I'm not very good. Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing about writing is you don't have to be very good. It's something that is very fun to do, even if it's
Mm.
not for other people.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
kind of personal. In a personal
Hmm.
way, you can enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we talked about Edgar Allan Poe. Maybe for some more context, he is probably one of the earliest great American writers. He's
Hmm.
very popular in America. He was writing maybe about 150 years ago, and I think he died quite young. He had quite a dramatic life, and he
Oh,
liked to
really?
write about very dark, mysterious themes, topics,
Hmm.
often about um, love that is impossible, or
Hmm.
about very gothic ideas, very very interesting ideas.
It does sound interesting. So, I didn't know much about his life though. So Emily has mentioned that he had a dramatic kind of life.
I
So,
think he did.
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think he was quite. I think he was an alcoholic.
Oh, I see.
Marco, maybe you know more about this than we do, Marco. His life was a bit miserable.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, I think he had a difficult life.
Okay. Surprisingly, many writers did have difficult lives.
Yeah, yeah, they did. Maybe
Hmm.
because some people believe that great writing comes from difficulty, from personal trauma. Um, Maybe you have opinions on that,
Yeah.
and you believe that.
I definitely think that different emotions can trigger writing. Like when
Hmm.
you're in a different in a miserable state, sometimes
Yeah.
creativity comes out. I
Hmm.
don't know if it was Tagore. Do you know Tagore by any chance,
I
Emily?
do. Yeah, he was an Indian writer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He used to write in Bengali, which is the language I speak.
Hmm.
So he said, I don't know if it was him, but somebody definitely said, "Give me more pain, so I can write better."
Hmm. Oh, wow.
I think it was Tagore who said
That's
that.
a nice line. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Great word here from Gianni. Preferred mystery and macabre stories. Yes, things, stories about death, stories that are very dark. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, mhm. And Marco, he had many debts, and he wrote also for this reason. Yeah, I think
Oh, did he? I did not know that.
a lot of writers at that time wrote for money. Like
Mm.
Charles Dickens wrote for money, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's very obvious.
Hmm.
You think you need an editor, and sometimes it's obvious that they were paid per word and not per text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine them living like in this period. They would have been really rich
Hmm. Well,
because their books
maybe it
are
depends
popular now.
how much they were paid.
Hmm.
Okay, so maybe it's time
Okay.
to have a read of the story. So I'm going to send you the link in the comments, so you watching can read through individually as well if you want to. Okay,
Hmm.
so here is the link for you, but we will get it on the screen also, I think. Janny says also painters. Painters can also either paint for money or they want a dramatic life to have a subject. That's great.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so
Okay,
I am
so
going to share
okay,
the the story, part of the
okay,
story rather.
yeah,
So this is the same thing you're gonna find on the link
hmm,
if you open it.
yeah. It's not too long, which is good, but we probably won't read all of it aloud. We'll maybe read the first few paragraphs and see how we go.
Yeah.
That's We'll have to see what you think of the story. Okay. So I think, yeah. Okay.
Enough, Emily?
It is, yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So
So we can
maybe
maybe
Anika,
start
we
with the
can read.
first paragraph.
Yeah. Uh,
So maybe we
okay.
can read one
For,
paragraph each.
yeah, good. And then we can pause. We'll pause after maybe 3 or 4
Mm,
paragraphs, or even 2.
yeah.
Okay. So the first paragraph we have. So I'll start then. So true, nervous,
Okay.
very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. Hearken, and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story.
Wow, you read very nicely, Emily. I
Thank
love the
you.
dramatic voice. Yeah.
I like reading aloud. I do. If any of you read in English, I do advise you actually to read aloud because it
Mm,
does help you to understand the rhythms of the story.
yeah. Especially narratives like this, or if there are
Mhm.
dialogues, so you can read out
Yeah.
like you're acting it out. It can be
Hmm.
fun sometimes.
It can. It's very fun. Yeah.
You may want to
Um.
make sure nobody's around.
eh, yeah. I have no shame when it comes to reading.
Oh, I am too shy to read aloud, out
Hmm.
loud, like in a
Okay.
dramatic way. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about this paragraph.
Hmm. Yeah. So what do you think of this opening? Does this make you want to continue to read the story? So it's a very small
For me,
amount
it
of
does sound very
words.
interesting.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
It,
What interests you
mm.
about it?
So it sounds very mysterious to me. It makes me want to read more.
Hmm.
So, for example, he mentions he's dreadfully nervous. It makes me think, what is he dreadfully nervous about? So I
Yeah.
haven't read this story, so
Hmm.
I have no idea what to expect next.
Yeah.
So if I read it for the first time, it's like, what happens next?
Yeah.
And I really like the descriptions here,
Hmm.
especially the emotional description.
Hmm. Yes, me too. And there's yeah, there is something that invites you to listen. So hearken is not a word we use
Hmm.
anymore. It's just a very old word to mean to listen. Marco asks to dull.
Hmm.
So he said the disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed or dulled them. So to dull something is to make something less clear, something make something less obvious. So if something dulls your senses, it means that you can't feel very much.
Yes. So I have written it down here.
Hmm.
Um, and John here says he captures our attention without revealing anything. I
Mm.
agree with you, Johnny.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So maybe we should go to the next
Okay.
paragraph now.
Yeah. I'll read the next paragraph.
Hmm.
Okay. So it's impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult, but his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. He had the eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Oh gosh.
Hmm. Yeah, so very, very
That's a
macabre to go back to Gianni's
yeah.
comment earlier.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting paragraph. So, we have the idea of a vulture, which is, in case you're not sure, that a vulture is the bird that eats the meat from dead bodies of animals. And we often talk about people like the paparazzi actually as vultures in common English. Um, Another phrase that is probably useful to talk about is my blood ran cold. So if your blood runs cold, it's like you have a
Hmm.
sudden moment of fear.
Okay, I'm going to write it down.
Hmm.
Sudden fear. Yeah, it's interesting that he says that his blood ran cold, but he's the one
Hmm.
who wants to get like he says something like it seems like he wants to kill the man.
Mm, yeah. So it's saying he loved the old man, but also
Hmm.
there is that desire to kill the old man. There is something about him that is frightening. Yeah,
Okay.
please do. I know some of you are probably reading ahead of us, but if you do have any comments as we go through, then do
Mm-hmm.
tell us. Okay, so I will take the next paragraph.
Oh,
Okay,
it's a long
so
one.
you may need. It's okay. I don't mind. You may need to scroll
Okay.
down at some point. Thank you. Okay, so I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh, so gently. And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I first put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. And this I did for 7 long nights, every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into his chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling me by name in a hearty tone, and inquiring how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept.
It's
Ooh,
beautiful. Very nice.
yeah,
Oh, it sounds to me like a stalker, a perfect stalker.
yeah. It's interesting to me what happens with time in this paragraph because in the first sentence we have before I killed him, so we know what is going to happen, and then it goes back to the
Hmm.
week before and these nights where he visits this old man and just tries to kill him but can't. He has this evil eye.
Hmm.
Okay. So I think
Um,
that again there may be a couple
so,
of words to
if
talk
there
about.
are any difficulties,
Mhm. Yeah, so I think there are probably not many here. I
can
think
pick
you
out a
will
word
probably
and
be
ask
okay.
the viewers to tell us what they think it means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
So
hmm,
what do you think, Anika?
mm, so I'm looking for a word that may not be as common. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, latch, latch of his door.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
guys
that's a
think
good one.
latch means?
Latch.
Not
Yeah.
very common to use. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe one more is a
Yeah,
hearty
I was thinking
tone.
that yours may know.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Marco just asked about the latch. What is a latch? Hmm. And Johnny, it reminds you of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, it is in the same. It's in the same genre of writing and a similar time
Mm-hmm.
period. I think Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is slightly later, so it might be influenced by this story. That's definitely a good connection to make.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so are there any other comments you want to make here, Anika?
Um. Well. Not really. I think we said.
Hmm.
We
I
go
think
ahead
we
and
did.
give the answer to latch.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
What
is
is a
the part
latch?
of a door that kind of locks the door.
Hmm.
So this is it's like it's
Yeah.
made of metal usually. Can come in different
Hmm.
forms. There are like smaller ones where you close it like that. You slide it to a corner and then to the side, and
Hmm.
you lock the door. Not with a lock
Yeah.
and key, but the other thing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
hope that
Oh,
explains it.
another. Yeah, I think
Move
you're. I
on.
think it does. I think it does absolutely. So to turn the latch, basically, you unlock the door. You open the door. Okay. And Marco, thank you for
Hmm.
your comment. So you didn't give many details. This creates a suspended atmosphere. Yeah, there is a lot of suspense in this paragraph or in the story in general. Yeah. And we don't know who, when, or where. You're right. There are no specifics here. We really don't know. That's great. Okay. One other word I want to mention. So we have here. It was not the old man who vexed me. So to vex is like to
Oh,
frustrate, to annoy.
hmm, yeah.
Which I'll just write for you now.
Okay.
Hey.
If there's anything else that you have a question about, please
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, I think we can probably move on, but do let us know if you have any other thoughts.
Yeah. You can see, or you can always go to the.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move on to our next. Upon the eighth night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never, before that night, had I felt extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. To think that there I was, opening the door, little by little, and the old man not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps the old man heard me, for he moved in the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch, with the thick darkness, and so I knew
Hmm.
that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept on pushing it steadily, steadily. I had got my head in, and was about to open the lantern, when my thumb slipped through the tripped upon the fastening. Man sprang out. "Who's there?" I kept quite still and said nothing. For another hour I did not move a muscle, and in the moment I did not hear the old man lie down. He was still sitting in the bed, listening.
Hmm. Okay.
Description there.
Yeah. I love how he often repeats
So
the same
yeah,
word. So steadily, steadily. I think some of you have read The Raven, and that happens
oh
there as
yes.
well. It's very interesting.
Oh really? I think
Hmm.
I noticed another time in the last paragraph where he repeated words. Kind
Hmm.
of intensifies
Yeah.
things.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So just one word I want to explain. So sagacity or sagacity, not a word that we use really in English. It just means you are wisdom. You are wise. You know a lot
Yeah.
through experience.
I think this is similar to Italian, like
Yes, I think you're right.
sage, wise.
Yeah,
But we don't really
and in
use
English
sage
it's
that
much
much.
more
Not in like
literary.
spoken English. Yes.
No,
Wise or
no, we
wisdom.
don't. Hmm.
And then maybe this is used that our students may
Hmm.
not be familiar with. Fairly chuckled at the idea.
Yeah.
So if you guys know what
Hmm.
chuckle mean, you probably know. If you do, please write it down. Any synonyms
Hmm. Yeah.
that you
Yeah, that's a good one. Good word. Yeah, or if there are any other words you are not sure about here, let us know. Okay. I love the second sentence. I love the a watch's minute hand moves much more quickly than did mine. Yeah, it's a
Oh
very, very
wow, that's
nice moment at that time.
hmm.
And yes, Gianni Marco, you are right with chuckled. It is a type of laugh. And yeah, so which means that it is also similar to smiling. But it's like
Laughing.
a laugh when you find something funny.
Mhm. Okay. Um, if there are any other words that you didn't understand, you can just let us know.
Hmm. Yep.
Maybe draw
Okay.
back
Hmm.
an expression. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think it means? What is drawback?
Yeah. So to draw,
So
of
there is a
course, you
time
see in
delay
lots
when
of
we receive a.
contexts.
Hmm.
Hmm. Okay. But we might want to move on in a second. I'm just aware of time.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
paragraph.
So before we do, I'll
Go.
just give you draw. So to
Take it away, Myes.
draw back is normally to kind of step away very quickly. If anyone is unsure of that. So the next paragraph we have many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it has welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt, and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he had turned in the bed. His fears had been, ever since, growing upon him. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor," or "It is merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he had been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain, because death, in approaching the old man, had stalked with his black shadow before him, and the shadow had now reached and enveloped the victim. Wow. Maybe my favorite paragraph, this
Very
one.
beautiful expound.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also, this is, it strikes me as a very good, very, very good example of the present perfect continuous. He had been trying to comfort himself, something that he is continuously attempting. You get some good examples of that tense in this paragraph. Okay.
Yeah, and I like the mix of emotions here. So here he says, "I knew the old man what did him." All right,
Mm-hmm.
he was feeling sorry for him, but at the
Yeah.
same time he was laughing at him. What a
Mm-hmm.
complex
Yeah,
character.
definitely. I have a question for anyone watching about the language. So, what does all in vain mean? He had found all in vain, all in vain.
Oh, good question.
It's
What
not
is
really
that?
about appearance. You might know vain as a way as someone who wants to be beautiful, someone who is vain, who is always thinking about what they appear like. But all in vain is a bit different.
Hmm.
Okay. And a cricket is like an insect that you hear at night, if anyone is unsure there. Merely a
Mm-hmm.
cricket, the ones that you hear in the countryside very often.
Oh, I love the sound of the crickets.
Yeah, it's
When
very
I was
atmospheric.
growing up in Bangladesh, I remember
Hmm.
I could hear the crickets. Like when I
Yeah,
was really little, though. As I grew older, like the city became much more developed and too many buildings
right.
around, and somehow the sounds of the crickets
Hmm.
disappeared. Oh,
Yeah. Okay, Marco and Gianni both say when you do something for nothing, which is absolutely right. Something is useless, something is worth nothing. That's great. Good. So maybe time for the next
mm,
paragraph now.
okay. All on screen.
Hmm.
And oh, okay. It's the last
Okay,
paragraph.
quite
So,
long.
um, but yet, yeah, almost all of it.
Hmm.
Okay. But even yet, I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime the hellish sound of the heart increased. I grew quiet. It grew quieter and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now, at the death hour of the night, and amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable wrath. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and kept still. But the breathing grew louder. I thought the heart must burst. And now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour hand come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern, and leapt into the room. He, he shrieked once. once only. In an instant I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then sat upon the bed and smiled gaily, to find the deed so far down, and for many minutes the heart beat on, with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would be hurt through the walls. At length it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. The old man was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more.
Thank you, Anika. Yeah, so I think this is the ending.
Okay, that looks like
So what do you think about this ending?
That was
Okay, so
very
maybe. Mhm.
So yeah, maybe we can ask this to think about the ending.
Yeah, and we'll maybe give you a minute to think about that, and we can explain one or two words while we let you. So rough. So we has it disappeared? Um, yeah. So it's saying so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable wrath. So wrath is like a very old word for anger.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Uncontrollable
Okay.
anger.
An
Mm,
interesting question from Marco here. So anxiety seized me. So how do you use to seize?
hmm,
So we have a new anxiety seized me. Mm. So to
hmm.
to to seize is like
So
to
seize
get
is
hold of.
literally when you go
Mhm.
ahead, Amir.
No, sorry, Anika. For me, I would say to get hold of something, um, to 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 have. What do you think?
Yes, seize is to like grab something like very
Hmm.
quickly. And if anxiety
Yeah.
seized someone, then anxiety came to you very quickly, like very suddenly or
Hmm.
unexpectedly.
Yeah. We often say, that the Latin phrase "carpe diem" we translate as "seize the day." So grab hold of the day. Don't let
Oh
it go.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that down.
And Marco, yes, wrath is a capital sin, I think, or one of the seven deadly sins. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very biblical. The word is
Hmm.
biblical.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And please do let us know if
Those
you have any
are the
other
comments.
questions. Hmm. So, what do you
Hmm.
think of this ending, Anika? Do you like it?
I do like it. I mean, although that the narrator is about to kill the man, I mean, but still the description is what makes it a little bit unpredictable. And the way he
Hmm.
described his emotions, like his new excitement, how he described the scene is really cool. And
Hmm.
it's quite a violent scene. And I think the
Hmm.
writer, like Poe, didn't hesitate to make it violent. So
Yes,
it looks a bit
definitely.
scary. It's very, very scary.
Okay. So actually, yeah, good. good point, Marco. Yeah, I had forgotten this. This isn't actually the end. This is just the end of the extract for today. Yes. So this is just the beginning. That's yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, Johnny, you're right. You can have maybe some more reaction after this. So we won't continue to read the rest together, but I do recommend continuing individually and thinking about does the atmosphere of the beginning continue or does the story change at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share back the slides. So maybe
Mhm.
the
Okay. Okay. So just for the last few minutes, we can think more about everything we have read today. So we don't have very long.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So here are just a few questions we can discuss quickly. We have 3 minutes. So
Mhm.
also, if you guys have any more questions about this or anything else,
Mhm.
then post it for us. Oh, I'm glad that it's
Yeah.
interesting for you, Johnny. It's a very interesting lesson.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
for being here with us.
Definitely, it's much more interesting with the discussion because I think a story like this needs
Mhm.
discussion. It needs people to think about it. Um, So I think
Yeah.
here the first question is the most interesting one. What is the most troubling
Hmm.
aspect about the old man? What is disturbing about him?
So I remember reading about this. Yeah, so maybe before I give the answer away, you guys can quickly tap it up. So
Hmm.
there was a physical feature that was described.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. His blue
Yes.
eyes, I suppose, was the most troubling
Yeah.
aspect for the narrator.
Yeah. The evil eye. And the
Hmm.
evil eye is actually an
Evil eye.
expression. If you give someone evil eyes or
Hmm.
evils, it means that you are glaring at them. You are looking at them angrily. So this is an expression
Hmm.
that we use. Marco, telltale is telltale heart an expression you use? It's not one that I use. It's possible that people
Hmm.
do use it, but not in my experience. What do you think, Anika?
I have never used it either, but I think very often when a book or movie
Hmm.
is, people start using it
Yeah.
as something
Hmm.
else in real life as well. So
Absolutely.
maybe some people use it in some way.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Mm,
Okay, well, I think we are pretty much out of time for today. We're really glad that you
mhm,
enjoyed this story. So, as I said earlier, I do recommend Poe in general, but especially a poem like The Raven. I really recommend reading that in English, just for rhyme, for rhythm, some new vocabulary. It has a
mhm.
similar atmosphere to this story. Hey, and yeah,
Mhm.
thank you. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone.
Cool. Okay. Have a great evening. Bye.